In terms of you as an architect, the area of slip resistance specification within Australia's tiling industry is of high significance in regard to your role and responsibility to enforce safe design principles and regulations. Hi, I'm Sarah Stadler from Stad Safety, and together we're going to manage this slippery slope. Safety is our number one priority, and our mission is simple: safeguard people and their projects by striving for zero employee injuries, by operating and delivering our work responsibly and sustainably. With slips, trips and falls costing Australia between $2 to $4 billion per year, slip resistance specification, testing and evaluation are arguably one of safe design's biggest areas of concern. We hope this CPD seminar will equip you advantageously when designing and specifying your next project. Safety in design can fundamentally be viewed as a procedure which permits systematic risk management. At its core, the methodology facilitates a variety of participants and stakeholders to consider key issues pertaining to the following: aesthetics, function, safety, and environment. According to Safe Work Australia, safe design can be defined as the integration of control measures early in the design process to eliminate, or if this is not reasonably practicable, minimise risks of health and safety throughout the life of a structure being designed. Safe design commences at a project's concept development phase, wherein the following considerations are discussed: the design's functionality, materiality, potential construction methodology, maintenance, operation, demolition or dismantling and disposal, and respective legislation. According to a National Occupational Health and Safety Commission investigation conducted in 2004, 37% of all workplace fatalities definitely or probably involve design-related issues. Within the construction industry, this figure rose to 47%. These findings support the need for increasing developments in safe design practices. Despite occupational health and safety regulations proclaiming to be centred upon eliminating risks, in particular when concerned with work sites, it remains unrealistic and somewhat impossible to design out all the hazards. Therefore, when principles of safe design are enforced, successful OH&S risk management can be conducted pertaining to 1. Hazard identification, 2. Risk assessment, and 3. Risk control. Principles of safe design. 1. People with control over design can make a difference. These include principal designers, allied designers, clients, project managers, property developers, contractors, manufacturers, and this excludes building authorities. 2. Life cycle responsibility, including during construction, after project completion, maintenance, demolition, disposal and recycling, and 3. Risk management procedures. Identify the hazards, risk assessment, design control, and review. Legal obligations for architects to take into consideration include the Professional Duty of Care and Ethical Standards, the Architects Act, building law, and occupational health and safety law, which includes the Queensland Work Health and Safety Act, among others. Stad Safety Survival Principles. Step 1. Prior planning. Implement effective risk mitigation strategies for every project in the design, planning and construction phases. Step 2. Safety training. Comprehensive safety training will be provided for all employees and subconsultants in order to increase awareness of safety risks and hazards in the workplace and work site and prevent injuries. Step 3. Active safety participation. Employees are empowered to actively engage in safety protocols ranging from training events, site inspections and audits. Step 4. Incident reporting. All injury incidents and near misses will be further investigated to prevent future instances. A follow-up shall be conducted to discuss important lessons learned. A spill, a slip, a hospital trip. When it comes to safe design, floor surfaces and their inherent degree of slip resistance are proving to be one of the most extensive safety hazards within our built environments, with a growing incidence of litigation. With slips, trips and falls being the number one cause of injury-producing accidents and costing Australia between $2 to $4 billion per year, it is of vital importance that the architectural industry stays up to date on slip-resistant flooring specifications, testing methods and compliance. In this Safe Design training presentation, I look forward to discussing the do's and don'ts of slip-resistant specification in Australia's tiling industry, common misconceptions and recommendations to set you up for success on your next project. When trying to wrap your head around the notion of slip resistance and its relevant testing and standards, property risk consultant Carl Strautens provides us with some sage words. In effect, no floor surface will ever be made available to the public in the condition that it was originally tested. Slip resistance has become infamous for having many grey areas clouding the topic, from complex testing methods to unclear classification models. While these harsh legislative realities remain out of our hands, we must ensure we are armed with up-to-date industry standards and a comprehensible understanding of the topic. With the majority of slips and falls stemming from unexpected changes in flooring surface, close attention must be paid to this element of the specification process. With Australia and Japan coming in as the world's strictest countries regarding slip resistance guidelines, the frequency of litigation against architects and developers is on the rise. While our ageing population have an increased risk for slips and falls, it can happen to anyone. Not only do such things result from obstacles, but also the surface of the ground itself. A surface with a higher grit allows more grip for the foot and therefore establishes greater stability as opposed to a highly glossy surface. The Monash University Accident Research Centre has conducted a study finding that Australia's annual cost of falls within buildings is estimated at approximately $1.3 billion during 2009. In this study, it was recommended that stricter standards be implemented specifically for building entrances, in addition to more comprehensive testing approaches. Often, what is created is a lack of understanding between manufacturer and developer or architect as to what is legally required and where the liability falls within the specification process. One area which is often a cause for concern is the cleaning of more slip-resistant flooring. In accordance with AS 4586, specifiers should consider the likely in-surface wear and its effects on slip resistance, taking into account the material type, pedestrian and other traffic, and environmental conditions including cleaning and sealing. The common misconception is that cleaning a more slip-resistant floor does not have to be more difficult than cleaning a smooth finished floor. The latest revision of AS 4586 now includes the provision of wear conditioning of samples. The Handbook 197 and 198 are official guides on the minimum amount of slip resistance required. If these minimum standards are not complied with, architects and other parties will be vulnerable in litigation in the event a slip incident takes place. It is almost with certainty that pendulum testing will be utilised to check compliance on site. Carl Strautens states that only pendulum slip resistance testing and the dry floor friction test methods can confirm the on-site performance. He adds that the decrease of slip resistance can arise from factors such as installation, treatment, maintenance, and wear and tear. The 5 approved testing methods include the following: the wet pendulum test, the wet barefoot ramp test, the wet oil ramp test, the dry friction floor test, and the accelerated wear test. The following table shows which slip test best reflects your environmental conditions. The majority of the loss of slip resistance will take place during the first 500 cycles, continuing on after this point. Therefore, the AWT to 500 scrubs is able to predict products which should not perform well. 5,000 scrubs are thought to provide the strongest prediction of high-performing heavyweight products. It is important to remember that after the installation process is complete, the on-site test result will be lower than the tiles reading out of the box. Therefore, readings at completion or handover will likely be around the AWT results of 100 scrubs. If accelerated wear conditioning or testing is contemplated, the specifier should consider whether the particular procedure accurately reflects the wear expected in service. Tips and tricks of the trade. We recommend going up one in the P rating, so upgrading your specification rating, to take into consideration accelerated wear and tear. Slips, trips and falls, although worrisome, are nothing to be scared about. With the right tools and industry acumen, I'm positive you will all implement appropriate testing methods and specifications. Remember, if you ever need any assistance with slip ratings or floor products, please do not hesitate to give me a call. Stay safe and try to avoid a specification slip-up.